Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Ashtottara Satasya Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Samstapakacharya His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. So this morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 7, titled Further Inquiries by Vidura, texts 32 and 33. Text 32 does not have a purport, so I'll first read text 32 along with the translation, and then we'll go on to text 33. Dharmārtha-kāma-mokṣāṇāṁ nimittāni avirodhataḥ vārtāyā daṇḍa-nīteś śrutasya vidhiṁ pṛthak. Translation. You may also describe the non-contradictory causes of religiosity, economic development, sense gratification and salvation, and also the different means of livelihood and different processes of law and order as mentioned in the revealed scriptures. Come to text 33. śrāddhasya cha vidhiṁ brahman pitṛthāṇāṁ sargam eva cha graha-nakṣatra-tārāṇāṁ kalavayava samstithim śrāddhasya cha vidhiṁ brahman pitṛthāṇāṁ sargameva cha graha-nakṣatra-tārāṇāṁ kalavayava samstithim śrāddhasya cha vidhiṁ brahman pitṛthāṇāṁ sargameva cha graha-nakṣatra-tārāṇāṁ kalavayava samstithim śrāddhasya cha vidhiṁ brahman pitṛthāṇāṁ sargameva cha graha-nakṣatra-tārāṇāṁ kalavayava samstithim. Ladies, śrāddhasya of the periodical offerings of respects. Cha, also, vidhiṁ, regulations. Brahman, O Brahmana. Pitṛthāṇāṁ, of the forefathers. Sargam, creation. Eva, as. Cha, also. Graha, planetary system. Nakṣatra, the stars. Tārāṇāṁ, luminaries. Kala, time. Avayava, duration. Samsthitim, situations. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Please also explain the regulations for offering respects to the forefathers, the creation of the Pitraloka, the time schedule in the planets, stars and luminaries, and their respective situations. Purport. The time durations of day and night, as well as months and years, are different in the different planets, stars and luminaries. The higher planets like the Moon and Venus have time measurements different from those of the Earth. It is said that 6 months of this planet, Earth, equal 1 day of the higher planets. In Bhagavad Gita, the duration of 1 day in Brahmaloka is measured to be 1000 times the 4 yugas, or in Indian mathematical terms, you call it as 43 lakh. I think in American they say 4,300,000 years multiplied by 1000, and the month and year in Brahmaloka are calculated in that measure. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to Canto 3, Chapter 7, in the matter of further inquiries by Vidura, text 33. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Gyananjana-shlakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Caitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tamsa Jeevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtai Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swamaniti Namine Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaurakatha Damadaya Nagaragramatharine Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtai Bhutale Srimate Gopi Parana Danadase Iti Namine Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtai Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamaniti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpattarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patidhanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Bande Shri Gurudinatharinam Yatkripatamaham Bande Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Katanchana Smrite Yasmin Dushkaram Sukaram Bhavet Vismrite Viparitam Syat Shri Chaitanyam Namamitam. So, in today's purport, Srila Prabhupada explains how time works differently in different planetary systems. This is one universe, but within this universe, time works differently in the different planetary systems. I have a question. Is time an energy of the Lord, or is time the Lord himself? Any answers? Krishna says, time I am the destroyer. Okay, that's one answer. Anybody also thinks that time is an energy of the Lord? Energy of the Lord. Okay, so you have two different opinions. Let's see what the Bhagavatam has to say. Okay, so we did this before. Canto 3, chapter 6, text 2. The Supreme Powerful Lord then simultaneously entered into the 23 elements with the goddess Kali, his external energy, who alone amalgamates all the different elements. The ingredients of matter are counted as 23. The total material energy, false ego, sound, touch, form, taste, smell, earth, water, fire, air, sky, eye, ear, nose, tongue, skin, hand, leg, evacuating organ, genitals, speech and mind. Then Prabhupada writes, all are combined together by the influence of time and are again dissolved in the course of time. Time, therefore, is the energy of the Lord and acts in her own way by the direction of the Lord. This energy is called Kali and is represented by the dark, destructive goddess, generally worshipped by persons influenced by the mode of darkness or ignorance in material existence. Now Rakesh is smiling and the others are wondering what happened. Just hold on, it gets more interesting. A little ahead in Canto 3, chapter 10, text 12, Maitreya said, translation, eternal time is the primeval source. Sorry, 1 minute. Okay, sorry. Text 12. I am reading text 11, sorry. Text 12, translation. This cosmic manifestation is separated from the Supreme Lord as energy by means of Kala, which is the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Lord. It is situated as the objective manifestation of the Lord under the influence of the same material energy of Vishnu. So in this purport, Prabhupada explains, as stated previously by Narada before Vyasadeva, 1.5.20, idam hi vishvam bhagavan ivetaraha. This unmanifested world is the self-same personality of Godhead. But it appears to be something else beyond or besides the Lord. It appears so because of its being separated from the Lord by means of Kala. It is something like the tape recorded voice of a person who is now separated from the voice. As the tape recording is situated on the tape, so the whole cosmic manifestation is situated on the material energy and appears separate by means of Kala. The material manifestation is therefore the objective manifestation of the Supreme Lord and exhibits his impersonal feature so much adored by impersonalist philosophers. Okay, so here we see that it's explained that Kala is the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Lord. So earlier we saw it is the energy of the Lord. Here it's explained that is the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Lord. So in one place it is explained that Kala is the energy of the Lord. Here it is explained that its Kala is the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Lord. So how do we understand this? Now, furthermore, in this text, it is saying, Prabhupada explain, the text itself says the same thing. The material manifestation means not the material energy per se, the manifestation, that what we see here is the manifested impersonal feature of the Lord. Okay, so you have the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Lord, which is Kala, which means we know that Kala exists, right? We know that time exists, we can see its effect, but it's not manifest. So that is the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Lord. Then we see the whole cosmic manifestation, that is the manifested impersonal feature of the Lord. But why is it called impersonal? Didn't Krishna show the universal form? Yes, there is a form, but we can't see the form. So therefore, the impersonalist philosophers take it as impersonal. But factually, the cosmic manifestation, there is a Virat Rupa, which Krishna exhibited to Arjuna. Only those with special eyes can see that. But because for all practical purposes, we can't see the form. So it's taken as the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Lord. Whereas time is the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Lord. That's the only difference. Both are impersonal features. One is unmanifested, one is manifested. But then now what about energy? Earlier he's saying it is energy of the Lord, is referring to it as her. The Prabhupada actually refers to it as her. So how do we understand this? Is it energy? Is it energetic? What is it? So here Prabhupada gives a clue here, which is the basis. Our philosophy is based on this understanding. The unmanifested world is the self-same personality of Godhead, but it appears to be something else beyond or besides the Lord. It appears to be. So now we know that our philosophy is Acintya Bheda Abheda. Right? What does that mean actually? For example, we know that when we study about living entities, we know that we are quantitatively different from the Lord. Qualitatively, we are the same. Right? So why can't we just say Bheda Abheda? Same and different. Why is this word Acintya used there? Why does that word inconceivable come into the picture? Because isn't it obvious? The Lord is different. We are same and we are also different. We are same qualitatively, but quantitatively we are different. So all that is needed is Bheda Abheda. That's it. Why is this word Acintya coming into the picture? So Baladeva Vidyabhushan explains this. There is a concept of Vishesha. Vishesha means an object and its attributes. For example, sugar. Sugar is, attribute of sugar is sweetness. Okay. So at the same time we say sugar is sweet. Isn't it? We don't say sugar is sweet. So it looks like there is an object which is holding the characteristic of sweetness. But at the same time, if you separate that sweetness from sugar, can you conceive of that? What does it mean? That means there is something called sugar which can be other than sweetness. Can it be salty? No. So our acharyas have explained this as Vishesha, which means it is an appearance of difference. It's an appearance of difference, but it cannot be conceived. Because by definition it cannot be conceived. It is, but at the same time there is an appearance of difference. But because it cannot be conceived, it's called Acintya. So when we say the Lord is different from his energy, how do we conceive it? It's very difficult, because just like the sugar and the sweetness, is there a difference? There is an appearance of difference. It's called likeness to difference, a specific word. So the whole thing becomes inconceivable. For example, the jiva, we know that there is a difference. We know that there is no difference also. But it is inconceivable because of the same thing which I explained, that sweet and sweetness, we are energies of the Lord. We are energies of the Lord. So what does it mean we are the same and not the same? It is a fact that we are same and not the same, but it is inconceivable simply because of this concept of vishesha. Now that we may normally think that applies only to the jivas and the Lord, Acintya Beda Beda. But no, it also applies to Lord and all his energies. So that's what is happening here also. The Lord and material energy is simultaneously one and different inconceivably. So there is no contradiction in one place where it says time is the energy of the Lord, in another place it says time is the Lord himself. It is both. Time is the energy and time is also the Lord, and it's inconceivable. The inconceivable aspect I just explained by using vishesha. That's how our acharyas explain. And furthermore, the actual difference, if both are made, both time and the cosmic manifestation or material energy, let's say material energy, material cosmic manifestation is the manifested impersonal feature of the Lord. But let's take Prakriti, material energy, and time. Both are material. Both are material actually. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that of the 5 things, right? We know that Baladev Vidyabhushan explained the 5 things. Reality is constituted of 5 things: Ishvara, Jiva, Kala, Prakriti, and Karma. Now Bhaktivinoda Thakur clearly explains that Prakriti, Kala, and Jiva are dependent on the Ishvara. It is material, but it is material. You can say Kala and Prakriti are material, Jiva is not material, but all the 3 are dependent on Ishvara. So in that sense, Kala and Prakriti are energy. In that context, it is energy. Now what is the difference between Prakriti and Kala? Why? It's material energy, material, right? Why do you need to have 2 separate classifications? Why can't you just say material energy? No, there is a difference, because Prakriti is constituted of the 3 modes, whereas Kala is free from the 3 modes. That's why it is classified as separately. Both are material substance, but one is free from the 3 modes, which is Kala. Prakriti is constituted of the 3 modes. So that is the difference. But Kala, Prakriti and Jiva are dependent on Ishvara. And all of these are eternal, except the 5th thing, which is karma. Karma can be ended. It is an energy, but you can end it. That's it. So, but other 4 are eternal. So, apart from the calculation of time, time is also an energy. It destroys, as we study in the Bhagavad Gita. Time, I am the destroyer. Fortunately, I have been given this verse to talk on today, because I was also said that today is Ratha-yatra, Ulta Ratha-yatra. So I should speak something in relation to Jagannath. So I was wondering, what do I do? Because this is about time. So then Krishna, by his mercy, I got this realization that it's a wonderful verse to speak on. Because when the British came to India, or when the British conquered different parts of the world, there was a saying that the sun never sets on the British Empire, which means that the British had colonized so many different parts of the world vast expanse that everywhere they had a colony. So if the sun is setting in one colony, it is rising in another colony. So always somewhere in some part of the world, the sun is rising in a British colony. So they had this saying called, the sun never sets on the British Empire. They were very proud of it, And when the British came to India, they were completely bewildered when they saw Lord Jagannath's Ratha-yatra. Because first of all, this is for them the height of craziness. You have some wooden dolls or whatever, who look very scary. And big eyes, very abnormal looking dolls. And you have a massive gathering. Massive gathering to pull the chariots. Not just pull the chariots, during those days, people would be eager to fall in front of the chariot and die by being crushed by the wheels. So you can imagine how bewildered they may have been to see this phenomenon of seen the phenomenon of Lord Jagannath's Ratha-yatra festival. So they used to use a derogatory term called Jagannath is the Moloch of Hindustan. Anyway, that's not a very good word. So they had all these conceptions. This is the epitome of primitive idol worship. So this is what their conception was. In fact, in English there is a word called juggernaut. And if you look for the origin of the word, this is a word in the standard dictionary. There are companies with that name, juggernaut. And if you look at the English meaning of that verse, the origin of that word, then you'll find that it comes from this Jagannath's chariot festival. So juggernaut means something which moves with unstoppable force, which crushes everything along the way. So it comes from Lord Jagannath. So it's called juggernaut. So the British coined a word called juggernaut. And time is like juggernaut. Time rolls on. Nobody can stop time. Now, what has happened today? The sun which never set on the British Empire, such a great empire, has collapsed, completely collapsed. But on the other hand, Srila Prabhupada established Jagannath as the juggernaut. The British Empire has vanished, but now Jagannath rides through all the major cities of the world. In fact, when they had the first Ratha-yatra in London, you can see that there was in the newspapers, it was reported that the Nelson column is a very imposing monument in London. But it said that Lord Jagannath's chariot is a rival to the Nelson column. So this is what Prabhupada did. He established Jagannath literally as the Lord of the universe. Jagannath was, who the British considered this like primitive worship. Now everywhere, every part of the world, you have Jagannath riding through the main streets. New York, London, everywhere. We take it wherever you, just yesterday I was, taking a Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita class. So at that time, there were devotees from Malaysia. So they were saying that there are about 30 Ratha-yatras throughout the year. Then there were in London or in England, they have 16 Ratha-yatras. So like that, in every part of the world, Jagannath rides now. Prabhupada established Lord Jagannath as the Lord of the universe. So this is the power of time. Time has crushed the British Empire, but Jagannath has prevailed. So this is the special significance of Ratha-yatra for the members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Jagannath is no more figuratively just Odiyanath. Prabhupada has shown that Jagannath is the Lord of the entire universe. So, I mean, this is something which occurred to me when I was thinking what to speak about time and Lord Jagannath. So time has crushed the British Empire, but Jagannath has prevailed. So when it comes to devotees, time can be either something to help us in our devotional service, or time can also be the destroyer. Now, so Prabhupada explains that Chanakya Pandit says that even a moment of time wasted cannot be gained even if you spend millions of dollars. It cannot. It cannot. So it's gone forever. So devotees are very conscious about time, and therefore it is explained that one of the symptoms of the stage of bhava is avyartha kalatvam, which means that devotees who are on the platform, on an elevated platform, they don't waste a single moment. You know, so there are so many distractions in this material world. Lots of distractions. So I don't need to explain it. I think it's obvious to everybody. These days it has become the smartphone, and scrolling on this smartphone is one of the greatest distractions. So, or the social media, and there are so many things trying to set right the world. Prabhupada said our business is set right our lives first. You know, just take to Krishna consciousness and save the world. Don't try to, externally try to do different things. So Prabhupada writes in one letter, don't be bothered about the welfare of this world, what will happen, this will happen, that will happen. Instead of that, think about how to practice Krishna consciousness and give out Krishna consciousness to others. In fact, the very definition of a member of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Prabhupada explains in the Caitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, he says that we are Sarasvatas. Sarasvatas means we are descendants of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. We are followers of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And we are characterized by two things. These two things together constitute our definition. What is it? One is we preach the cult of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So the beginning of our definition is that we preach. If we don't preach, then we are not Sarasvatas. We are not even technically the members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So the second part of the definition is also important, because it is a twofold definition. Second part of the definition is we defeat all the opposing conceptions other than pure devotional service. So we not just preach, but we also defeat. You know, like during Prabhupada's time, there was this incident where there was a Mayavadi speaker who was speaking Mayavada, and one of Prabhupada's disciples, early disciples, Govinda Dasi, she goes there and she creates a disturbance at that meeting by refuting that Mayavadi impersonalism. And when Prabhupada heard that news, he immediately sent a note to the editor of Back to Godhead. He said, publish a news about what Govinda Dasi did. And Prabhupada personally gave the title of that article. The title of the article is Heroine Govinda Dasi. You know? Actually, it was published in the Back to Godhead during Prabhupada's time. So Prabhupada is so proud of it, that because she was a young lady, but this is a Saraswata, that we not just preach the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we also oppose anything that is opposed to it. And not only that, even 6 months later, when Prabhupada is writing a letter to her husband, so he writes that to Gaurasundar, he writes to Gaurasundar, he says, you and your wife, heroine Govinda Dasi, when you come to see me. So Prabhupada is so fond of what she did. Even 6 months later, he refers to her as heroine Govinda Dasi, So this is a Saraswata, that we are interested in preaching the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We are also interested in opposing anything that differs from that conception. So our effective use of time means, if we need to go back to Godhead in this one lifetime, we have to be Saraswatas. That's our definition. So of course, one cannot preach if one is not practicing. What kind of preacher is it? Prabhupada explains that very clearly in his books. So we preach, so we practice and we fulfill the mandate of being a Saraswata. Without practicing and fulfilling the mandate of being a Saraswata, we are not going back to Godhead in this lifetime. Maybe in some future lifetime. I mean, of course, it is not easy that we just chant 16 rounds and follow the 4 regulative principles and we're going back to Godhead by just preaching. And preaching and just going back to Godhead. Because Prabhupada very clearly says that one has to chant offenselessly. So we should come to the stage of offenseless chanting, following the 4 regulative principles, and preaching and opposing anything that. We need to do all these 4 elements. When we do all the 4 elements, then definitely we are going back to Godhead in this lifetime. So, when devotees consider the concept of time, this is their concern, that we utilize our time for these activities, so that we benefit not only ourselves, but we benefit the whole world. We are interested in introducing Jagannath Ratha-yatra in every town, in every locality also. We want to establish Jagannath like that. So there is a lot of unlimited opportunity. We want to make the whole world Krishna conscious. So this is the mandate that we have. It's a very big mandate. So if we remain distracted, where is the question of practicing ourselves properly? Where is the question of spreading the Krishna consciousness? Where is the question of opposing? So we have lots and lots and lots of things to do. One lifetime, in fact, appears short for that, to do so many things. So where is the question of wasting time? So we have to be very conscious of this, and Prabhupada is very, very particular about it. Also, like how Samba Prabhu mentioned that in his class, how when telex machine was introduced, Prabhupada is not in favor of that telex machine. He said this will increase the prajalpa. Devotees are going to waste time. And even when devotees came to the international Gaura Purnima festival in Mayapur, once Prabhupada heard devotees conversing, they were just discussing about what is happening here, what is happening there. And Prabhupada said, this is not what you have come together for. Chant and practice Krishna consciousness, do Sankirtan, preach. So Prabhupada is very conscious of this fact of not wasting time. We need to be conscious of that fact of not wasting time. Without that, the 4 things are impossible to attain. Chanting 16 rounds offenselessly, following the 4 regulative principles, preaching, opposing anything that is opposed to Krishna consciousness, pure devotional service. So when we are surrendered to the Lord, we can observe, when we are in the surrendering process, we should observe that with the progress of time, we are wasting lesser and lesser time. As time goes on in our lives, we are wasting lesser and lesser and lesser and lesser and lesser time. That's a very important aspect of it, that we should measure our progress by how much time we are wasting on unnecessary things so that's one of the aspects of measuring our progress. As I was saying this, I just remember that a couple of days ago, one devotee, he sent me a picture, sent so many others a picture of me sitting there, sleeping in the Bhagavatam class. First of all, devotees don't even come to the Bhagavatam class. Then if you come to the Bhagavatam class and you also sleep, that is complete craziness. Just complete craziness. So I was thinking, wow, this is Lord Jagannath's mercy to wake me up, And then he started becoming alert. So we should take all the help that we get to attain the, to whatever it takes to follow Srila Prabhupada, wherever it comes from. And I remember a couple of devotees wrote to me at that time that, oh, is this right? Is it good to send a picture? I said, it doesn't matter what it is. Because if we start getting into things like this, we're again wasting time. Is it right or not? Was I sleeping in the class? Yes. What am I supposed to do? Not sleep. You're wasting time. I'm supposed to get out of it. Instead of that, if I spend my time in discussion, was it right to send a picture like this? What is this? What is the motive? It's irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant. The point is that we have to be focused in our usage of time. And wherever that comes from, if any warning that you receive that you're wasting time, take it as Krishna's mercy. That yes, Jagannath is merciful, Krishna is merciful. So because time is our most precious commodity, and the most precious commodity cannot be wasted. As Prabhupada writes several times, now he talks in his lectures that even if you spend millions of dollars, you cannot get back a moment of time. Okay, so I think on that note, I'll stop here. There are about 8 minutes to go. So if there are any questions and comments. Yes, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. You were speaking about the definition of Sarasvata. And
Yes.
the first part is to preach Krishna consciousness. It's more or less clear to us. So preaching is going on in our movement in a systematic way. But how to practice the second part of that definition? So how can I individually practice opposing the other philosophies, wrong conceptions? And as a society, how can we practice it?
First of all, when we preach, just like we should present what is the truth and what is not the truth also. So what is reality distinguished from illusion? It is not, I mean, we should be conscious of the fact that sometimes we may be preaching to people, right? That, okay, chant Hare Krishna, do all these different things, you'll go back to Godhead, right? But if you look at Prabhupada's books, he's very clear that this is the right conception. You cannot have the understanding that the other conception is also as good as this conception, but this is my personal preference, nothing like that. All paths are not leading to the same destination. Prabhupada is very clear about it. So you should know exactly what you're doing. It is not some personal choice. This is a science. So when we preach to people, we should be conscious of this fact. We are not meant to tell people, okay, chant Hare Krishna somehow and everything will be okay. Yes, that's fine. I mean, there are different levels of preaching. But the point is that we are not meant to be quiet or try to, just like for example, Prabhupada when he went to the West, he was very clear. Everybody who came before me was a bogus yogi. He was very clear about it. All bogus spiritualists. I am the only person who was teaching the real thing. He kept said it openly. So why? Because to clearly make the distinction between what is counterfeit and what is real. So today the world is such that so many things are called spiritual, and so many leaders in different ways. But we have to make it a point. No, we are different. We are different. We are not all these things. So people have to understand that also. Like I remember, there is one devotee, just during Navadip Mandal Parikrama. So he was saying that, I loved this Navadip Mandala Parikrama. And then he was saying that I think it is, he gave it the name of, I don't want to name him here in the Bhagavatam class. One impersonalist, Mayavadi. So he said that I think it is by his mercy I was able to attend Navadip Mandal Parikrama. Am I supposed to keep quiet when I hear that? Oh, somehow he attended Navadip Mandal Parikrama. So let me just nod my head. I said, no, it cannot be by the mercy of that impersonalist, this thing that you attended Navadip. So I went on to explain, no, this is a wrong conception that you have. So it is not that, if people accept devotional service, it's enough. They also need to know what is wrong. That distinction has to be made. For example, one of the offenses against chanting is to consider the names of demigods like Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva to be equal to or independent. What to speak of demigods like Lord Brahma and Shiva? What about other, I mean, even if if you do not have the correct conception, then you're committing an offense, correct? If you don't have the correct conception of who's Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, then you're committing an offense to the holy name. So what to speak of Mayavadis and others? Obviously they should not have a wrong conception. If they have a wrong conception, then they're committing offense to the holy name. So it is our duty to teach them what is the right thing and teach them also what is the wrong. I mean, we may do it in different ways. For example, we may not even name a person, we may just defeat the philosophy. But the defeat the philosophy is very important. Like Prabhupada also sometimes had a strategy that I think Prabhupada is genuinely like that also. That when Prabhupada is asked, what do you think about the teachings of who and so? He said, who is that person? Prabhupada in fact tells his disciples, sometimes you can make a person insignificant by just asking a question like that. Then they'll think, oh, such a famous person, you don't even know who it is. So like that. Anyway, so yes, so these aspects have to be there in our preaching. As a movement, we are not in control of the movement, so we can only do what we can do in our preaching. Like yesterday in the Prabhupada Lilamrita class that I was taking, we were reading from the section where Prabhupada, I think this was in Seattle, Anyway, he was invited to a conference of different religious people. And and Prabhupada created a commotion in that conference. The interviewer was very disturbed, and Prabhupada said, I have not come here to jointly for us all to explore what is the truth. Prabhupada said, I know what is the truth. I've come here to teach you. So then that is Prabhupada. Then Prabhupada says, then that person says, this is not a conference. Prabhupada says, no, this is the meaning of a conference. The Prabhupada says, no, he even defies the ordinary definition of a conference. He says, no, I know what is the truth. I've come here to teach you. Why should we jointly explore the truth? I already know. I'm come here to teach you. So then they say, but I may have a different idea of the truth and all these kind of things. Then Prabhupada said, then conference means you try to convince me of your idea. That by rational thing you show me that your idea is superior. Then we'll consider. Otherwise you accept my idea. Is what I'm saying. So Prabhupada's, this is very consistent with Prabhupada. Even in India, when he went to that Gita Sammelan, he said, what is all this Gita Sammelan? For surrender to Krishna. He spoke that openly on the stage. Giriraj Maharaj explained. That also created a commotion. He just opposed all these. He said, you people are not representing the Gita. Gita means you surrender to the Lord. Gita is about pure devotional service. This is what I've come to teach you. That's it. So this is Gita Sammelan. This is Prabhupada's side. Prabhupada said, there's no need of having a Sammelan. Everything is very clear. Just preach it. That is called Sammelan. Prabhupada's idea. So Prabhupada is very, very consistent like that. You don't find Prabhupada ever. He is in an assembly and something wrong is spoken and Prabhupada says, okay, distinguished gentlemen and ladies, and thank you for your kind words. And no. First of all, he'll destroy anything that is spoken, against the Saraswata line. Rakesh?
Thank you for the wonderful class. You were saying about how devotees don't waste time. So what happens is that tendency of quota, this much quota is done. Now I have my time, I'll take some rest, and these things creep in and we feel very comfortable in this quota management. We finished our quota, now it's okay. How to overcome these tendencies?
Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that in the process of chanting the holy name, to come to the stage of pure chanting, there are 3 obstacles. One is offenses, asatrishna, excessive attachment, asatrishna, attachment to some material ambition or goal. Then hridaya daurlabhyam, weakness of the heart. Weakness of the heart is, it can be done, we can actually avoid it, but somehow end up doing it. So we somehow end up doing the wrong thing. That's called hridaya daurlabhyam. Asatrishna is your very strong desire for something. I want to become a very rich man. It's like strong desire. Even if you're a devotee, sometimes you may have some very strong material desire. That's called asatrishna. Offenses, of course, are understandable. Hridaya daurlabhyam is, we can avoid it, but somehow we end up falling down, not doing it. So these are the 3 obstacles to chanting the holy name purely. So, just like when what is it? When the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu defines as the greatest Vaishnava is he, you come into the presence of that Vaishnava. Just by coming into the presence of that Vaishnava, you start chanting the holy name. You start chanting the holy name. You just, I mean, just being there in the presence, you feel that. You feel that attraction for chanting the holy name. So similarly, that's the same principle applies. So if you meet an advanced Vaishnava, for example, who doesn't waste his time. I'll give you one simple example. It's what happened in my own life. So two things, both about chanting and also about about wasting time, not wasting time. So I think it was the year 2000, 1999, 2000. I think it was the year 2000, in which Ravindra Swarup Prabhu was the chairman of the GBC. So during that year, he said that the GBC chairman should set the proper example. And what he did was, during the Kartik month, he spent his entire Kartik month in Govardhan, chanting 64 rounds, and I'm reading and whatever, preaching. He was also the chairman of the JBC at that time. So, but right after that Kartik thing, he came to Bangalore, and during that time I went to meet him. And he was there for about a week. Every time that I went and met him, every time I came home or whatever, I would just helplessly pick up the beads and chant, And I noticed that phenomenon consistently over 1 week. That just by going and seeing him, you're feeling that attraction for picking up the beads and chanting attentively, So that's an example. Like if you associate with those who have that attachment for the holy name, then it'll rub off on you. Similarly, wasting time. I remember, whenever I see Vaisheshika Prabhu, when I attend his yatras or his classes or anything, he doesn't spend, even in his Bhagavatam classes, here you may observe, even if there's 10 seconds gap, he wouldn't allow that 10 seconds gap. He would immediately start chanting Hare Krishna and make everybody chant. And I've seen that consistently. You don't find any time, I've traveled with him, so many different things. You don't find him even for a moment, oh, look what he's doing. No. Even in the airport, he's reading the Bhagavatam shlokas, he's picking up the books, going out to distribute. He's busy with Krishna consciousness. And when you're in association with such a person, then you imbibe that quality. That, okay, I also don't want to waste time. It just rubs off on you. So that's why Prabhupada created the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, to make our life easy. By ourselves, it's very difficult. But it's possible, but very difficult. So when we search out advanced Vaishnavas, then who have these qualities which we don't have, then those qualities rub off on us, and then we make progress in Krishna consciousness. Okay, I think I'm over time. Sorry, already 4 minutes over time. Okay, thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.